Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sikh genocide. It is a phrase that I'm sure conjures up many images and emotions. But in order to truly understand the issue, all the ways it impacts our lives, and the ways it has adapted over time, we must start at the foundation and study how it has grown. The word genocide has been defined as the deliberate and systematic destruction, in whole or in part, of an ethnic, racial, religious, or national group. Therefore, Sikh genocide is the deliberate and systematic destruction of Sikhs, and more specifically, Sikhs in India. Before India gained its freedom, the British ruled India. At this time, Sikhs were an integral part of India's struggle for freedom. Although the Sikhs were only slightly more than 1% of India's population, they contributed far more than that to India's struggle for freedom. 75% of the people who served more than 1 year in prison in India's struggle for freedom were Sikhs. 80% of those that were deported from India and exiled were Sikhs. 80% of those sentenced to death were Sikhs. 60% of those that enlisted in the Indian National Army were Sikhs. These numbers are a far cry from that slightly more than 1% they made up of the Indian population. At this time, Indian politicians recognized that the Sikhs were a critical part of the movement for freedom. Furthermore, it was necessary for the Hindu leadership to appease the Sikhs in order to maintain a majority in the state of Punjab. The Congress Party passed a resolution stating that no further constitution would be acceptable to the party that did not give full satisfaction to the Sikhs and other minorities. This position was repeated by Gandhi himself in a speech he gave at Gurdwara Sikh Sahib. But once the British left India, India gained its freedom and no longer had that same need for the Sikhs. The Indian government disclaimed all pledges and resolutions made to safeguard Sikhs and their interests. At this time, the Indian government began a disturbing pattern of policies and practices aimed at eliminating the Sikh way of life. These policies and practices can only be referred to as an attempted genocide of the Sikh people. Several different methods have been used to achieve the aims of the Indian government. The first of which is language. It has been said that in order to eliminate a people, one must start by eliminating their language. For Sikhs, the Punjabi language is essential to their faith. Guru Arjan Dev Ji intentionally did not use Hindi or Sanskrit in the Guru Granth Sahib. The Hindu government understands the importance of Punjabi in the Sikh faith. First, the government attempted to make Hindi the national language. This was met by resistance from the Sikhs as well as non-speaking Hindus, leading to a reorganization of states based on linguistic boundaries. However, Punjabi was one of only 3 languages that was not considered for statehood. Hindus residing in Punjab were taught to assert that Hindi was their language, even though they had spoken Punjabi their whole lives. Therefore, attempting to stop Punjabi-speaking Sikhs from having their own state. The Sikhs continued to fight for a Punjabi-speaking state, and finally, in 1966, 19 years after independence, a Punjabi state was created. However, even in the state of Punjab, children are primarily taught Hindi, and Punjabi is only a limited part of the curriculum. Even today, as far as we have come, our Sikh youth are taught Hindi as their primary language in Punjab schools. If they can eliminate Punjabi from our vocabulary and our youth, they will limit our ability to continue to live as Sikhs. Without our language, we will be blind to understand our faith, limited in our search for answers. We will have to turn to a variety of translations of our Guru's teachings, undoubtedly many of which will be created by the Indian government in an effort to misguide us. The result? Sikh genocide. The second method, the water supply in Punjab. When the state of Punjab was created, the Indian government introduced legislation which gave control of the waters in Punjab's rivers to the central government. This provision was in violation of the Indian Constitution itself and was not practiced anywhere else in India. 75% of Punjab's river water is diverted to other non-Sikh states. Punjab is not compensated for the water, it is simply taken. Theft. This creates two major problems. First, the standard of living is reduced by the unavailability of water. Clean water becomes harder to find, and diseases become more common in Punjab every day. According to the Earth Policy Institute, Punjab's water table is falling by 1 meter per year. Water continues to become scarcer, and disease will naturally continue to increase. The second problem is economical. Punjab is primarily an agricultural state. Without water, the agricultural industry of Punjab suffers. This leads to a weaker economic state where people will continue to find it harder to make ends meet, eventually resulting in poverty. The theft of Punjab's water supply is a mechanism being used by the Indian government to cripple the Sikhs economically and physically. By creating rampant poverty and disease, they will attempt to make the Sikhs desperate for assistance. By preying on this desperation, the government hopes to break the Sikh will and force them to accept whatever the Indian government wishes. The inevitable result? Sikh genocide. The third method, brutal violence. In 1947, the governor of Punjab, Mr. C.M. Trivedi, issued certain instructions to the DCs in Punjab. The Sikhs were to be treated as a criminal tribe, who even should be shot dead so they can realize who are the rulers and who are the subjects. This attitude and behavior continues throughout India's existence. In 1984, the Indian government launched Operation Blue Star, an organized attack on Darbar Sahib and 37 other Sikh gurdwaras. Although the rationale for the attack was to capture Janel Singh Bhindranwale, since then, Indian officials have anonymously admitted that they had no evidence against Bhindranwale. The attack was instead an attempt to destroy any possible resistance the Sikhs may present to the Indian government. If the intention had been just to capture a militant, there would have been no need for 70,000 soldiers to invade the Darbar Sahib. The attack would not have been conducted on a Gurpurab. The Sikh history library would not have been burned down, and the other 37 gurdwaras did not need to be attacked. The intention was simple: to kill as many Sikhs as possible and scare the rest of the Sikh population into understanding what the government has been trying to teach us all along. Who are the rulers and who are the subjects? Their mission, however, did not achieve this goal. The Sikhs' will could not be broken so easily, and two of Indira Gandhi's own bodyguards, Satwant Singh and Beant Singh, responded to the attack by assassinating Indira Gandhi a few months after Operation Blue Star. This would set off a chain of violent attacks against the Sikh men, women, and children. The Indian government transported known criminals to areas with high Sikh populations to attack, rape, and murder anyone they could find. The police stood by idly and observed the attacks, and when necessary, provided any assistance the criminals would need. Violence against Sikhs became the law of the land. The Sikhs were left with no choice but to defend themselves, and Sikh militancy in Punjab increased rapidly. This climate led to almost 2 decades of brutal violence in Punjab, countless lives being lost, and order, although still has not been completely restored, has somewhat led to a decrease in the violence over the last decade. The Indian government has made their intentions clear. They will resort to brutal levels of violence in order to eliminate the Sikh way of life. Operation Blue Star was not a single isolated attack. It was just one example of a pattern of behavior displayed by the Indian government over the last 63 years. Their aim has always been, and always will be, to force the Sikhs to accept their role as lesser subjects or eliminate them altogether. The goal to be attained here? Sikh genocide. The fourth method, and the most recent, drugs and alcohol. Article 47 of India's Constitution reads as follows: "The state shall endeavor to bring about the prohibition of the consumption, except for medicinal purpose, of intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health." In other words, the state will attempt to outlaw drugs and alcohol. In Gujarat, a predominantly Hindu state, alcohol is prohibited and has been prohibited since 1947. In other states, it has been outlawed at times, but is at the very least discouraged. In Punjab, however, alcohol is 4 times cheaper than in any other state in India. Alcohol is not outlawed in Punjab or even frowned upon. It is in fact encouraged. Furthermore, at this time, nearly 70% of Punjab's youth is abusing illegal drugs. The troubling part of the story, however, is where these drugs are coming from. The drugs being smuggled into Punjab are being smuggled by government officials, police officials, and their accessories. Secret reports of the state police itself provide the evidence needed to prove these allegations. However, despite numerous requests by numerous human rights agencies in Punjab, these reports have not been made available to them. The Indian government is not only allowing the drugs and alcohol to run rampant in Punjab, they are encouraging and facilitating it. In addition to attempting to eliminate the Sikhs through various other methods discussed, they are actively assisting the Sikhs in eliminating themselves by not only providing them with the means to kill themselves, but also encouraging them to use those means. That encouragement comes in a variety of ways. The economic and emotional burdens created by the oppression of Sikhs, the cheaper prices of alcohol in Punjab, the ridiculously easy availability of drugs in Punjab, and the influence on Punjabi pop culture to encourage the use of alcohol and drugs. All of these factors lead to increased alcohol and drug use, causing deaths, illness, and violence, all of which are a means to the same end, Sikh genocide. But the most concerning trend here is the failure of us as Sikhs to recognize the government's intentions and practices for what they are. The Indian government has systematically attempted to eliminate the Sikh way of life by a wide variety of methods. We must understand, however, that they are not attempting to eliminate us because we are Punjabi or us as human beings. What they are trying to eliminate is us as Sikhs. If we choose not to follow the Sikh way of life, the teachings of our gurus, they have no desire to eliminate us. That's what they want. They want us to become Hindus. As a result, it is critical that we understand that when we abandon the teachings of our gurus, we stray away from the way of life taught by our gurus, and we turn a blind eye to the lessons that our gurus spent hundreds of years and hundreds of sacrifices teaching us. For whatever reason we do this, then we are abandoning our identity as Sikhs and helping the Indian government achieve their goals. If any of us, 1, 2, 5, any, abandon our identity and values as Sikhs, then naturally we are also contributing to Sikh genocide. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. ਇਸ ਸਨ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਅਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੇਅਰ। ਇਸ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਹਨ। ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਹੀਰੇ ਹਨ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੀਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਜੋ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਇਆ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਅਫਜ਼ਾਈ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਇਹ ਜਿਸ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਛਾਪ ਉਸ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਛੱਡਣ, ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਿੱਖੀਜ਼ਮ ਜੋ ਸਾਡਾ ਮੇਨ ਮਕਸਦ ਹੈ ਫਰੀडम, ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਨਸਲਕੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਉਹ ਹਰ ਘਰ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣ। ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਇਮਾਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਮਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਆਉਣ। ਸਰਦਾਰ ਸੁਰਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਕਲਾਸ, ਸਰਦਾਰ ਹਰਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਅਕਾਲੀ ਦਲ ਮਾਨ ਦੇ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਤਿੰਨੋਂ ਜਣੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਨਮਾਨਿਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਜੀ। ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ, ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।